probably like 3 hours. And well, we can chat on that on the while recording if you want.
Yeah, talk about your monitors. I started rolling as soon as you started talking about your
Oh,
monitors.
oh well, I fucked him up from ear sweat, like
You're semi.
sweating.
Oh, because of the cups? Did
So
you
like,
hang the cups on the monitor?
no. So no, my monitor earphones. They're like in ear music. They're recording monitors.
Okay, okay. See that?
So
Okay,
they're high end earbuds.
right. And you call them monitors because they're high end.
Well, no, because they are a lot of earbuds, a lot of headphones, shit like that. You'll get um will be they'll have like their own tuning and stuff. These are designed to be flat, exactly what comes across the board. It doesn't, change the tone any. So what I'm using right now, everything is a lot muddier. Once you've used really really good headphones or monitors, um, it'll yeah.
Well, what makes them so good? Is it the drivers? Is it the capacitor? Like is it the mechanical? Is there some software stuff? Is it
No,
a little
it's
both?
all the mechanical or electronic, like the electronics in there, but there's no. I mean, they're earbuds, but they're designed to have the sound straight across, no change in tone. Like what you hear is what you get, kind of thing. That makes
So,
sense.
yeah, yeah. And then you're using a soundboard or you're using a sound card.
Board. I have
Okay.
a. It's only an 8 channel Mackie, but
Mm,
then I can also, I've been using it, running my bass into that, and and playing music from my computer through there, so I can essentially mix it in my headphones and play and not disturb my neighbors by plugging in my amp.
yeah, it's a little too much technical for me. Um, I'm a simple man in some aspects. I don't dabble in like the kind of music you do. So I understand what you're saying. I can't relate. I can't relate because I don't have high fidelity headphones. You know, mine.
Once you try them, man, once you try them once, then you'll never go want to go back. It's a tremendous difference. When I got these, even the Razer headset that I love it, is good, but just not as good.
Uh, take a brief interlude to introduce ourselves. Welcome everybody to the show. I'm Jake.
I'm Drake.
This is Jake and Drake show, and right now we're talking about high quality fidelity ear monitors, or are they sound monitors? Who knows? What?
Just in your monitors.
Okay.
Sennheisers, if you had any question.
Oh, dude, yeah, I remember looking at the Sennheisers a while ago. There was a guy that used to play PUBG, and he was sponsored by them, so he used to always plug them. And I was like, okay, let's see how much these things are. And like the cheapest model was over $200. I was just like, yeah. And don't get me wrong, like the ones I'm wearing, they're not Sennheisers. They are G933 Logitech gaming series, but they're wireless, so I can get up and listen to chat in Discord if I wanted to. I can pull the mic. I think it's over here. I don't even use it. I can pull the mic down and use that. But that's why I got them for the wireless and they work pretty well for gaming purposes. I mean, obviously, I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
the Razors are pretty good for gaming, um, especially with the faux surround sound.
Mm-hmm.
With their software and stuff like that. But as far as like recording and music, these monitors were just top of the fucking line. I mean,
So you have this. So this okay. So everything's wired, correct?
Yeah.
And you have a Sennheiser headset, and you have, what is this soundboard you have?
Mackie Pro
Mackie.
Effects.
Never heard of them. But then again, I'm not in the industry, so I wouldn't know. But is that a pretty good company, pretty good quality? Is it a price
It's
point thing?
decent. Yeah, it's decent. It's good for like home recording stuff like that. There are others obviously that are much better, but this is just a little 8-track. It's not a trash can or I would still do that. It's not a Tascam, at least.
I don't even know what that is.
It's another brand that does like the mixing boards.
Mm, okay.
But I mean, there's big names, and like Yamaha does some. Um,
I've heard of
Trying to remember
Yamaha.
the name.
Yamaha seems like they're like one of those companies like Logitech, or not Logitech, like LG and Samsung, where they just have like a foothold in everything, just like a conglomerate.
Yamaha's got some of the best pianos and stuff like that.
Sorry, I turned my fan off, but yeah, they do a lot of sound stuff. They do water. They do like water stuff, like jet skis and stuff, and they do motorcycles. I think in
Yeah,
Japan, Yamaha actually makes vehicles.
I would, well, motorcycles and stuff. Those are vehicles.
Well, I mean,
But
like
they
actual
did
for.
warplanes too. I thought too.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
A lot of those car companies, like Mitsubishi, um, oh fuck, now all their names are dropping out of my brain. But they did like warplanes and stuff too.
Yeah, because Honda does a lot of that too. They branch out, but yeah. So you got this Mackie soundboard. You got the Sennheiser headset. What's your microphone?
Monitors.
Mo- Monitors. What's your headset consist of?
What do you mean?
I mean, your microphone. I'm so sorry. I'm like spacing out. I'm like lack of sleep. I don't know if you could tell in the eyes, but what microphone are you using?
It's an AKG. I don't remember the model.
That's funny you say that because AKGs are they used to, I don't know if they make wireless, but the last few Samsung phones I bought came with AKG earbuds, with built-in microphones, and those things were pretty damn good. Back when you used to be able to get a cell phone that had a stereo jack or a 3.5 millimeter jack in it. So, um, yeah, cool. And this is just plugged into the motherboard of your computer, or how is this set up?
Everything's plugged into the mixing board, and then the mixing board's connected um, with a sound cable. Sound cables going out, and sound cables and USB connected to my computer.
Okay. So, what, ideally though, ideally you would have, those big ass jacks that would go from that soundboard into a sound card, and then there would be also a wall adapter that would power up. You know what I mean? Like, because don't you lose some kind of fidelity in sound when you put things on the USB? Because like,
When you say the big cable, you mean the XLR?
I mean, like back in the 80s when you used to buy a pair of monitors or headphones, they came with the little coily cord that had that big ass jack on the end of it. What is that called?
Gotcha. It's just a larger headphone jack. I have those plugs on my or audio jack, I should say, not a headphone necessarily. 'Cause that's the same plug that like my bass cable uses and stuff like that. Um, the XLRs have like ghost power or phantom power. So
Okay.
basically, the monitor needs power.
Right.
Plugging in the XLR cable, there's like a power connection there. If I click and turn off phantom power on my board, my mic will stop working because there's no power to it.
Okay. Yeah. 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 Now, and I know a little bit about sound, not too much, but so when you're connecting that mixer, don't you want to connect that mixer via an analog cable though, like one of those long cables or something of that nature? Because when you're connecting things via USB, right? You have what's like a it's a modulator demodulator. So you have something that takes that analog signal that's coming from your mic or whatever you have plugged into that mixer, and then it has to take those sine waves and turn them into ones and zeros, right? And then it shoots them along the USB, and then it goes into that motherboard of that computer, or vice versa, depending on which way it's being transmitted, right? So you kind of lose quality there, and isn't that why most of the time you want to keep like that analog signal analog for as long as you can in that like schematic of electronics that you have going on?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's it, it's basically analog signals and everything like that connected to the board, and then piping out. I can like for my mic using my microphone and stuff on the computer, like for this recording,
Mm-hmm.
is using a USB microphone driver coming from the board. The board has its own driver, so the computer thinks, okay, here's this sound coming in from this channel as USB microphone one or whatever. So I think there are ways of splitting it, with one of the like the external sound cards or just a better sound card, um, where you have I can pipe out multiple channels to my board, and then I could mix the sound that way, so to speak.
So I got another question. Um, so something I learned when I was learning my electronics job, and it pertained more to signals, not specifically sound. Like 20 to 20 hertz, but um, the topic that was kind of pounded into my head, or the theory, I guess, was impedance matching. So are you familiar with impedance matching?
It's been a really really long time, um, but that's I think that's more with radio, although the equipment will do some of that too.
Mm-hmm.
But like with the antennas and designing antennas, you've got to get them to work with the right frequencies and certain lengths and things like that.
Well, more so on the hard connections, right? So, example, um, like car stereos. So if you had your amplifier and you have your speaker wire and you have your speaker, so that speaker's rated some kind of impedance in ohms, which is not to be confused with resistance, because resistance is just resistors, and impedance includes capacitors and inductors as well. But that speaker, let's say, is like 93 ohms, and essentially you should be buying stereo wire that's rated for 93 ohms, and of course that changes depending on how much speaker wire you use, but you want everything to match as closely to impedance as possible, because I think the one of the important things I remember from my schooling was, example, if you have, like, let's say you have high impedance here and then the impedance is lower, so essentially you could have higher amounts of wattage coming down here, and then when you get to like this junction where, let's say, this speaker is here, you actually can have a buildup of heat. And in some cases it's relatively insignificant, because you're going from like a huge water pipe of whatever, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's truncated, right? um, really, does it, in the grand scheme of things, what they told us was impedance is essentially what they called it maximum power transfer. It means like everything that you're giving, you're going to get on one end, like 100% of it. So I was wondering if like you had dabbled in any of that. Like, does your, as you call it, XLR cable have an impedance? Does it go from here to the soundboard? What's the impedance of the soundboard? Do you have any?
I'm sure that there's some of the, stats for nerds kind of stuff I can look into on it, but I haven't done any messing around with that since, fuck, dude, it's been like 30 years. It has been 30 years. Holy shit. Um, when
was
I
it when you were a
when,
roadie?
no, when I first went to college, I went into the sound engineering program.
Mm. This is
Actually, that's the second thing. The first one I was going to do was law enforcement. Then my best friend was killed by the cops, so I decided to not do that.
mm-hmm.
But I was in the sound and audio engineering program for a while, and yeah, I don't know, just got bored of it. I preferred to
Your mixtapes didn't pan out.
I just preferred to play than to be the guy behind the board.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, it's funny you say that. There was a guy on Facebook. He was a I wouldn't say he was a buddy, but he was a coworker. He wasn't a friend. He wasn't an enemy. He was just a guy I worked with back in 2010 to 2012, and he just ended up being he got it, did his contract, he got out. Now he does all sorts of that sound shit. He's just like totally immersed, borderline obsessed with that stuff. And um, I've been meaning to want to pick his brain about some of that stuff, because like as far as it goes with me is when we used to have the stereo jacks. I'd say stereo, I keep saying that, but the 3.5 millimeter jacks on the bottom of our phones, and I would want to go buy wired earbuds because it's always nice to have wired. Like, okay, we got Bluetooth this, whatever, whatever. But I still like having that option of plugging in something. But I would always like try to like look up the spec of like my phone and see what my phone is and see what the impedance is, and then try to find earbuds in the store or headphones in the store that match the impedance, and then I would pay attention to the frequency response, and then I would pay attention to the decibel, the dBAs. So I would actually like in depth. I remember one time I was at Best Buy or something, and the guy was like, "Oh, what are you looking for?" I was like, "Okay, well, I'm looking for this impedance. I'm looking for this and this and this," because like you look at some of that stuff, and if and like I don't know a lot. I'm
And you were
sure
able to get help at Best Buy.
I don't know why, but yes. And mind you, this was years ago. But people don't pay attention to that stuff. So if you see something and you're picking up some kind of sound equipment, and it's like, oh well, our frequency response is 17 hertz to 17k hertz, or it's like, well, the human ear can hear from 20 hertz to 20k hertz, so essentially you're not getting the full range. Now, whether or not you can actually hear that is another story. But are you paying for shit you're not getting, essentially? And then what kind of power are you getting out of those? Like, what are the drivers actually? The mechanical drivers in the earbuds, in the headphones, in the monitors. So, yeah, it's pretty cool to talk about that, especially with someone that's got a lot more up and up on that than I do. If you mix, do you mix anything right now?
Not a lot. I've done some conversion of old cassette tapes. So I got a little like pile cassette player that wires out, and I've got it plugged into my the board, so I can play tapes on there and then pipe them in and convert them to digital. Like I did that for a friend who and cleaning out my dad's house, I came across this old cassette tape of mine, like a couple of boxes in the attic that had shit of mine, and an old cassette tape of stuff he recorded back in 80s ish. Yeah, it's going right here. Let's see. Hear that sound?
Kinda.
That's
Is that a pedal?
no, it's just I'm not rattling it loud enough. It's the sound of a cassette tape being shaken. You know, those
Oh.
old things with a spools of yeah. So 92,
Mm-hmm.
he recorded this, and so I converted it to digital and so stuff like that.
Right
And
on.
I think I haven't done it yet, but my wife's got some old cassette tapes of her great grandmother reading stories that she recorded for the kids. So like if, the parents didn't have time for bedtime story or whatever, they could just play one from great grandma.
Uh-huh. It's almost like a Teddy
So, but
Ruxpin.
kinda. But so I'm gonna probably take that and we'll convert that for her, and then she can send it back to her mom and distribute it to the family.
Mm, yeah. I meant to
But
ask you.
I think the stories are racist because they're the old Uncle Remus stories, Song of the South stories.
You got me, dude. I don't know shit about that.
Song of the South? You're too young for that. But
Well, it's
it was a
also a
Disney show.
demographics thing, right?
Well, no, it was a Disney movie slash. They had several things connected to it. And I think they're changing the water ride or some of the rides because they're connected to Song of the South.
Oh, I
But
heard that.
but um but Brer Fox, Brer Bear, and Brer Rabbit.
Okay. What about him?
You don't remember those? Well,
I
no, it's just a racist
what's
trope now
what's racist about it?
because of the old former slave telling these stories
So a slave told some stories, and because
to
the
white
per
kids.
wait, I'm so so white kids told the story about a slave.
No, it was a slave telling stories to white kids. I don't
Okay.
know who created Uncle Remus, but
Okay, so a slave told some stories to some white kids. What is that? What is bad about that?
I don't know.
I'm trying to. So anything that has to do example, uh, during the time of slavery, a black guy invented something, but we can't talk about that because he might have been a slave or like I really I am so okay. My brain is slow and it is hurting. Okay. But okay, so your grandma made some tapes.
Her grandmother,
Oh,
great grandmother.
okay, and they're Uncle Remus tapes, and they're racist, but they're bedtime stories. And okay, interesting. That's just the interesting thing. Aside from the racism, that somebody would take the time to do that. My first tour in Iraq, I knew people that used to go down to the USO slash MWR, and they had like a little room. They had like a soundproof room, and you could schedule an appointment, and you could go. And this was back in 2000, 2004, 2005, and you could go in and you could pick out a story, and they had a camera, and they had like the camera and the microphones, and you could read a book, and then they would take it, and I don't remember if they put it on video cassette or DVD, don't quote me, or CD or something, and they would put it together, and then they would mail it to your family, and then your son or your daughter could um, watch that, watch daddy or mommy read them a story. I thought that was pretty cool, but nothing like a cassette tape from like how would you say this transcript is?
Huh?
How old would you say the transcript is? Like how old is the like how long ago
The
was it?
stories?
Well, not the stories. How long ago were the stories read? Like, what year were the stories actually recorded? How about that?
Oh, probably 80s or 90s.
Uh huh. And you still have them.
Well, my wife does.
Uh huh. Well, you guys have them. So they're well over 40 years old, or 30 years old, excuse me. 30, 40 years old. That's pretty cool. That's almost like an heirloom. Are you gonna try to like digitize that and
Yeah, that's what I said. We digitize it and then distribute it to the family so that all the grandkids or great grandkids can have copies if they want.
mm, yeah, that's that's pretty dope. Maybe I should do that. Maybe somebody could listen to my annoying voice 80 years from now. Look back at all the stupid shit I put on Twitter. Like, oh, this was such a great guy. You know, my great 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 grandfather. Man, that guy was a weirdo. Just be thankful. Be thankful that your peoples didn't have the Twitter or whatever back then. They might have said some
So,
stuff. They,
so this article says Uncle Remus has, quote, long reckoned by many scholars and readers to be a racial stereotype and a sad vestige of the Old South nostalgia.
okay, what else does it say? Like why?
Oh, there's a bunch of this stuff.
Like
It's more, this article is more talking about the author who was a white guy. Um, yeah, racism debate. Da-da-da. Now they're just arguing about whether the author is racist, but
okay, so the author is racist, but the author of the stories
well, the
essentially.
author wasn't really racist, but
But the you said the author, basically the person that made these stories was a slave.
no, the main character. Okay, there's a white
Oh,
guy who wrote these stories.
I
The
got
main
you.
character is a
Remus.
former slave or a slave, Uncle Remus, who's telling stories to the white kids,
Right. Okay.
the children of the plantation owners.
Mm-hmm.
And the stories that I remember were all good, and I think there was some complaint that one of the stories was about Brer Rabbit fighting a tar baby, which was um, in the story it was a mock individual made of tar, and when he fights the tar baby he gets stuck, and then that's that whole please don't throw me in the briar patch thing. They finally caught him, and then Brer Rabbit tricks him into throwing him in the briar patch and gets away.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and eat me, but whatever you do, please don't throw me in the briar patch. So, yeah,
That's a
but
that's a
I don't think I don't
that's a
think it's
stretch.
racist. I think it's Disney being overly whatever.
Protecting their bottom line, thinking that.
I don't know. It's that one. I mean, that one's been. I don't think that one was ever officially released in the United States, on video even. I remember we had a copy of it that was converted from a European copy from the PAL to NTSC or vice versa. I don't remember.
You know, it's just funny. Is like it just dawned on me. So like Disney, like big companies like Disney, um, they do this like woke shit, right? But the thing is, I think I don't think I okay. I don't think the people that they're trying to appease really fucking watch Disney. You know what I mean? Like most of these people are uh I don't know, we'll say like in their 20s and 30s, like mid 30s, early 20s, like that's so these people probably aren't watching Disney and they aren't having kids, and like the people that are watching Disney, I think on average they just don't give a damn. They just want like cartoons and shows and stuff to entertain their children. I don't think they give it any credence as far as is this brainwashing my child to be racist or to be anti-race. I really don't. I think that there are people that do pay attention to. I mean, obviously I know nothing about this specific incident, but I do know that a lot of the programming from Disney is tailored towards like that wokeness, and I don't want any part of it. So I don't really subscribe to anything Disney. I don't go watch Disney movies. I don't watch ESPN. I don't have Hulu. There's a lot of things I just kind of refuse to give Disney my money for because it's my small way of making a statement. But the thing is, I think if Disney didn't do shit, like Disney's such a big company that I don't think they would lose any money anyway. Like if they just would have left the shit there, I'm sure there's like a Davy Crockett movie. I remember when I did have Disney Plus for free for a year. My dad was watching some like old Disney movies from the '60s. I think Daniel Boone
Yeah,
was one of
when
them.
we had Disney Plus for like a free month or
Hmm.
free 3 months or something like that.
And then
I did. I watched a bunch of the old shit. It was great.
yeah, but nobody really sits there and like the guy says like engine or something or like okay, you're watching it with your kid and your kid says what's that? It's like oh, that's just like a not correct term to use for Native Americans or Indians or that's just a you just like that's a good parenting moment. That's a good teaching moment for parents. Or maybe you're not watching with your kids and then your kid says something or you hear it and it's just like if you heard your kid say a cuss word and you just like hit them with some soap or something and you just like don't use that word. It's like they kind of took that away from the parents, and the people that it does matter to don't buy Disney shit anyway. There's no reason for them to watch Mulan. They're probably not watching ESPN. They might be watching Hulu though. I mean, I don't know, but I I feel like a lot of those corporations that do that woke shit. I feel like why alienate half your patrons? Like why do that? It just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't know. It is what it is. Disney's market is changing. I mean, with their all their acquisitions and so on and so forth. But yeah, don't care.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't care, but you kind of should care, right? A little bit. Like, you don't think you should care? You don't think like,
Why should I care what they do? Doesn't affect me.
well, it doesn't affect you, right? It's like, I've been thinking about this for a while. You think about politics, I guess. Uh, does it affect you? Yes, no, maybe. Um, Something I was gonna tell my old man was like, okay, so if you voted for this asshole, that's fine. You voted for him, but you're gonna die in like 20 years. So you're really not gonna have to deal with this shit show that you started. And some people would make the argument, well, this is the other president's shit show, and some people would say, well, it's the other president's shit show or the other. It's like okay, we could debate that, right? But you vote in somebody, and there's just a radical amount of change, and maybe some of the change is needed, but definitely not all of it. And you could say it doesn't affect me, but in a way it does. And then for some people that are enacting this, like in this radical case I'm talking about, it's like, well, you're gonna die in 20 years, and I'll probably be around for what am I 40 for another 40 years. So I got to deal with it now for the next 20 while you're still alive, and then the 20 after you're dead, assuming I live to be 80, then I got to deal with that for another 20 years, and then your grandchildren will have to deal with the shit that, you know what I mean? Do you, so like you're saying that.
What my plan
Mhm.
is to get that property in the middle of nowhere, set up a nice homestead slash farm slash shooting range, and be left the fuck alone. And then if my daughter wants to come up there and homestead out there, fine. It is what it is.
Mm.
I just want to be left alone, man.
I agree. I want to be left alone too. I do. But that's the problem is you have and I have had and you more than me have had this almost like an isolationist policy where I'm just going to stick to my. But the thing is, these people say that very loosely, won't leave you alone. It's almost like a Borg. It's like the Borgs. It's like you don't want shit to do with the Borgs, but the Borgs are just coming after you, and they're consistently chasing you through all the quadrants of the universe. And at some point, you got to stand and take a fight. And if you wait till you fight later, then you have a lot bigger problem than if you engage it sooner. And that's kind of the way I look at it. You know, I didn't give a shit about politics until maybe like the last year of Obama's presidency. I didn't really give a shit about culture. There was a lot of things that I was kind of blind to. There were things that you opened me up to. There were things that my other friends opened my eyes up to. And I really wish I could go back and take the blue pill. You know, I really wish I could be like Cypher in the Matrix. And I could just go back into the Matrix and I could be happy and I could know nothing. But the fact that I know a lot more than I did 7 years ago, 6 years ago, it's just mind boggling. It's just like, wow, this shit was here the whole time. This is what was going on. This is what the government's doing. And it's sad, right? Here's the sad part to me is I have friends and family members and they are older than me. They should be wiser than me. They should be thinking cognitively about this stuff and they're not. And I actually went on a mini rant and somebody was saying something about something. I can't remember. I remember who said it. I won't. No, it wasn't my dad. And I was just like, dude, I'm just tired of this, and I'm so fucking tired of paying taxes. Like I straight up went Darien mode. I was like, this is bullshit. Like, these are my tax monies. I work my ass for it, and what do I see? I don't see anything. It's very frustrating. And then my taxes go up, and inflation goes up. So I'm indirectly taxed, and they just tax me more. Like, when is enough enough? And so you could say, yeah, I'm going to get a homestead, I'm going to move out, but they're not going to leave you alone. At some point, they're going to manifest, what is it, manifest destiny or shit. And at that point, you got to stand and fight, and now it's a bigger problem than it would have been if you would have stood and fight 10, 15 years prior. You know, it's an ugly truth of the way the government is going. It really is.
If the government really decided to try to infringe on the type of folk that tend to homestead and so on, um, it would be it'd be a mistake.
I mean,
I mean,
I look at I
they were
look at
just going back on. They were just reneging on a deal for grazing, and they had the Bundy standoff.
right, but that was like then, right? And where we are now. And if you look at history in regards to Mao and Stalin,
If that happened now,
it
I,
wouldn't it,
I
it wouldn't happen right now because right now like that incrementalism isn't there. We just got to the point in 8 months that now the federal government is going to basically mandate people to get vaccines if you are employed. Okay, 100 people, but then it's going to get smaller, and all of a sudden you're going to be an individual bit. You're going to be running a mom and pop ammo shop, you and your wife, and they're going to make you fucking get a vaccine, right? And it doesn't stop there. And then they're going to
They can
make
go
you.
fuck themselves.
Well,
That's the thing.
that's what I'm saying.
What the way to stand up against that type of tyranny is defiance.
And then what?
You know, and that's for everything. You know, if a store is requiring you to wear a mask and you disagree with it, don't fucking shop there. But let that store owner, if they want to, fucking require masks. Now, the problem I have is when companies like Walmart come in, obliterate the small businesses, and are the only store in town, and then start doing that shit. But don't let Walmart into your fucking small town.
I actually have a good story about that. The small
I mean,
town.
sure as shit, it's convenient, but I don't shop at Walmart. I mean, we get groceries, but I won't go in there because they have mask rules still here.
So
Although I think most people just straight ignore them.
Walmart is an interesting case, and I agree that Walmart is kind of bad. I say kind of bad. There are some upsides to it, right? But so my small town had population of like 6 to 8 thousand, and everybody liked to shop locally because it kept money in the local economy, which kept people employed, which kept people in the city, right? Kept people there, and everybody there had, for the most part at the time, everybody had kind of like that conservative libertarian, like they wanted people to just leave us alone, and there still are like that. They just, not so much. It's a little bit more diluted as time goes on, but leave us alone, and Catholic values, because it's a Catholic city. It was a bunch of Catholic immigrants from France that moved out there. But classic example, they had that one supermarket there, and you would go to that supermarket, and they didn't really have good produce or good meat. I mean, it was okay, and it was overpriced. And you're like, okay, well, I can pay for overpriced goods because I know it puts back into the community. It keeps these people here employed. These people live here in the city. They're good people. I want them. But the problem is that that place was managed terribly. Like the markup on the meat, and we can go into the gas too. Like, so the gasoline at the gas station was overpriced, and anywhere from 25 to 30 cents a gallon. You could go drive to the other small city, which was about 12 to 16,000 people. Gas was cheaper. It was the big city price, and it was on the other side. And then you could drive into the big city and pay less too. But everybody bought gas and stuff in the city to keep the money in the city. And then another problem with the city was like the Chamber of Commerce, right? The board of people that decide, when a big business wants to move in, like, okay, they got to go and they got to pitch their idea. And for the longest time, the Chamber of Commerce did not let any outside business. So there was the big business they had there at the time for the longest time that moved in. That was big news. Was not Walmart. It was McDonald's. So you had all these taco shops. You had all these country kitchens. Um, the small supermarkets, the couple gas stations, Exxon's and Shell's, Texaco at the time. So, yeah, it was very difficult to get a foothold in there, but they started relaxing. The Chamber of Commerce started relaxing, and I don't know why. I don't work there. I don't go to the meetings, but so then you had like Chicken John's or something show up one day, and then you had Domino's, and then you had Whataburger, and then all of a sudden you had Walmart, and it was just like, oh wow, this place is changing. And I will tell you that Walmart ran that grocery store out of town, and that was a negative, right? So now all that money is corporate money. Now it created more jobs. More jobs were created because maybe that supermarket only manned 50 people, and now that Walmart mans double that. Oh, what their pay rate is, I don't know, but more jobs were created, and the cost of goods went down. You can go into Walmart and it's not great produce, it's not great meat, but it's better than it was at that supermarket, and it's priced lower. So it was kind of a win, and it was kind of a loss. Like them seeing the Walmart brought into that small town, it kind of brought a tear to my eye. And then I went and got some cheap Walmart gas and a cheap bag of chips and some cheap fucking beef jerky and went about my business. And had that small business done a better job of managing the business, I don't think Walmart would have ever came into the picture. So I can't speak for all the small businesses that get driven out by Walmart, but I can speak for one, and nobody likes shopping there. And they even rebranded that place twice. I think it was called Super S the first time I was there. Then it was called like Super K Market, and then it was rebranded again to it's a giant orange thing. I forget what it's called, but I mean, there's a cause and effect, man. I think some of those places could have benefited, and some of them were hurt more by Walmart. But I agree with you. I don't particularly care for Walmart, but I really don't care for that other place.
Shitty meat.
Yeah, shitty meat, shitty produce, all the above.
That's what we've kind of taken it. We'll order the Walmart food stuff. Like Carside. They go and do the shopping for us if your order's big enough. And so we'll do that and get most of our like non-produce shopping there, and then go to the local grocery store for the produce, or get it from the farmer's market or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I just got some really amazingly purple potatoes at the farmer's market.
Did you say purpled?
Purple tomatoes, or potatoes.
I didn't know that. I know there's white and red, and I think yellow. I didn't know there was purple.
Well, the red potatoes aren't red on the inside.
No.
These are purple on the inside.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, fuck is the point of that? That sounds almost like a mutated sweet potato.
No. It just tastes like potatoes. They're just different potatoes.
Do you guys grow sweet potatoes up there? Or is it? I know it's all potatoes, but is there a big sweet potato market up there?
I don't think it's not like a big market, but I believe that some do grow up here.
Mm.
So I remember at the shop, the guys would, brought in a bag and was like, "Oh, sweet potato season," or something. So, which are different than yams. They are actually very different than yams.
They look similar.
They look similar, but yams are a little darker and sweeter.
Mm-hmm. I wonder which one's healthier.
I'd probably think sweet potatoes, but
yeah, I would think so too. But yeah, okay, yeah.
I mean, less sugar, right?
Yeah, but
potatoes are all carbs anyway.
Well, yeah, but that's why. Okay, generally speaking, people eat sweet potatoes because they have both. So like a potato is just like straight starch, which is like a super dense carbohydrate, whereas a sugar is a complete opposite.
Simple carb.
It's on the opposite spectrum of a starch. So carb's kind of in the middle. It's like the standard, and then you either have a sugar to the left, and then you have like a starch to the right, or however you want to look at it. So sweet potatoes are good because while they do have sugar in them, when you eat a sweet potato, it's like you can get up and do something. Like, just think of yourself like baseline dead, and you need energy to do something. it would be more beneficial for you to eat a sweet potato and then get up and go do something than a potato, because a potato, you would have to wait for your body to digest the starch all the way down to a carb for your body to use it. Whereas a sweet potato has sugar that's immediately available to replenish your bloodstream, and then it has the starches that slow release the, sugar into your bloodstream throughout the day. You know what I mean? So that's why people like health fanatics, they're all about sweet potatoes, because sugar is not bad for you. It's just we eat way too much fucking sugar. That's the problem. So if you had to pick one or the other, I don't think you could say one is the clear winner. I guess you could make an argument either way, but sweet potatoes are just the health nut choice because, and I don't even know what that's the macros. I don't know what the micronutrients are like. Like maybe sweet potatoes have more vitamins and minerals than regular potatoes. I don't know. And I will tell you that I don't eat sweet potato rinds. I eat the whole fucking regular potato, skin and all. But I can't eat a sweet potato rind. It's too leathery for me. You know what I mean? Like, do you do baked potatoes?
I'll do baked potatoes on occasion.
Do you eat the rind of the baked potato?
Of course.
Okay. Now, do you eat the rind of a sweet potato?
I don't eat sweet potatoes.
Well, you have.
Yams.
You have, right? I mean, you have.
Haven't.
You've never had a sweet.
I take it back. I take that back. I did try it, but usually the ones, sweet potatoes are actually yams, and I do not like yams. And when I tried the sweet potato, it was still too yammy for me.
Hmm. Yeah. If you prep a sweet potato almost like a baked potato, it's pretty good. Like just some butter and a little bit of salt, not too much, no pepper, no sour cream, no cheese, no chives, no whatever, but most of the time when I make sweet potatoes, it's usually around Thanksgiving, and I make sweet potato casserole, which is you just make them really soft and you mash them up and you add marshmallow.
What color are those?
The sweet potatoes are orange, like a brighter hue orange. I'm trying to look around, like, okay, you see,
those are yams.
No, see that orange right there, that little cat tube, right there, like that color orange. That's, at least from what the camera's showing, that's the kind of orange it would be. In fact, I don't know. Let's pull up a quick Google search. Takes my browser a minute to load, so I put some bougie ass software on my computer now. You know what I think? Aren't yams more like rooty? Aren't yams more like roots than sweet potatoes? Because sweet potatoes are almost like potatoes, where they're just like nodules in the ground, right?
I guess so. I don't really grow them, so.
Okay. Like, here's a... So, sweet potatoes, thin reddish brown skin, orange, white, or purple flesh. Yeah, see, I knew that. I knew that you could get a purple sweet potato. Sweet flavor, sometimes called a yam in U.S. grocery stores, originated in South or Central America. And I did know that yams started off in Africa. I just didn't know where sweet potatoes started off in. So yams are a rough textured brown skin, pale starchy flesh, neutral flavor, not widely available in grocery stores in the U.S., and originate in Africa. And yams look... Okay. What is that shit that grows under the ground? Is it ginseng? Is it ginseng?
Ginseng does grow underground, I believe.
You ever seen what a ginseng root looks like?
Little people.
Little people. So just picture that and then magnify it, right? Just enlarge it. And a sweet potato is essentially... I mean, you know what a sweet potato looks like. It looks like a potato with pointy ends. But a yam looks more rooty. Okay, so the edible part of
I don't eat any of them. They're gross. So
Ah. Ah. Oh, they even got the macros. Sweet potatoes have more vitamin A. They have more sugar. Yams have more fiber. Yams have more potassium. And yams have more vitamin C. Okay, cool. But there's a distinct difference. A yam is white in the middle, a sweet potato is orange. White or yellow. Yeah. So, speaking of healthy food, how's your diet going, dude? How's your
eh,
we didn't address that. That's normally the first topic we talk about. Like, how's everything going?
I'm not counting calories. I'm just trying to eat, portion control and looking at the food and stuff and saying, okay, I'm not going to eat this big ass pile of chow mein. I'll eat that big ass pile of vegetables, or.
Are you,
So like
you losing some
we
weight?
do we do Panda Express once a week, and I stopped getting the rice and I stopped getting the chow mein, and I started getting the power greens, which yeah, they're pretty tasty.
Hmm.
It's like cabbage, kale, other greens, broccoli.
I have a hard time seeing you eating that, but I guess it's more of a necessity thing.
No, no. I mean, and as far as the other entrees or whatever, I get like the chicken dishes typically.
Hmm. Is that your
So,
cheat meal? Is
so
that your Go ahead.
I'll
Sorry.
get the teriyaki chicken without the sauce, and I'll get the like green bean chicken and mushroom chicken and stuff like that.
That's your Is that your cheat meal for the week, or do you have like another
Yeah, that's
guilty
Pizza
pleasure?
Friday.
Pizza
Pizza Friday.
Pizza Friday, and what's the other one?
Pizza Friday.
No, I mean, when do you go to Panda Express?
Oh, Sundays. And
Oh.
actually, I think my wife went just left. I think I heard her leaving. Yep. So she's gonna get dinner.
Hmm. Yeah, chicken's normally my staple. Normally, we did have a big grill off for Labor Day, and there's a bunch of baked potatoes in the fridge. There was a bunch of grilled chicken, and the lady chopped it up and boiled some noodles and did like some fettuccine bullshit, some chicken, added the white sauce and
Alfredo.
Alfredo, thank you. And still a burger left, still a brat left. I think there's a steak left in there. So, but mostly chicken. Chicken's cheap. Chicken's healthy. Um, it's probably not as nutrient dense as beef and pork, but you can get that stuff from vitamins.
Yeah, last week, all the different exercise shit I've been doing. Last week, had a day where I was super craving meat, and just must have been an iron deficiency or something. But I mean, I want a steak. I want it right now, and ended up, I don't know. We had been gifted several different, mail order meat subscriptions. I don't remember the brands, but they send you frozen meat, and so I ended up making like three. I didn't have a big steak, which is what I wanted. So I ended up cooking up three of the fillets. That
Filet mignons?
yep,
Oh, what a fatty.
just cooked them up and ate all three.
What a fatty. Do you know how many calories are in a filet mignon minus the the bacon?
Oh, there's no bacon on it.
No, I said normally a filet mignon in like a restaurant is served with like bacon around it as like some kind of garnish, but a standard filet mignon was like a 3.5 ounce. It's like 400 calories per.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. I got what I needed.
Yeah, you just had like that pregnant woman craving or something. Like I need iron. I need. That's crazy. Uh, where do you buy your meat from? Are you like one of those Omaha guys? You buy that shit in the mail, or you actually?
That was the company, and that, you mentioned that. That was one of the ones that had the frozen stuff. But no, normally when we get it, we'll get it from the local grocer, or I've got some cards now from the farmers market of some farms that they raise their own and sell the meat too. So
Hmm. Hmm. You guys got a big freezer, or do you guys just a normal
no,
freezer?
no. Usually just get it when we're gonna, like, okay, let's do a tri-tip this weekend. So go to the farmers market or go to the store on Saturday and then get the tri-tip to smoke.
You know what's funny is like you would be that one guy that I would picture had a deep freezer. You would be like you would just
When I
be
have more room, I will.
mm, like you just stockpile. In fact, you would have two. Okay, you would have two deep freezers. You would have one for your food and one for your bodies.
Pretty much. That's what the why we're gonna have pigs too.
What's that? You're gonna raise some pigs?
Yeah.
Like right now?
No, when we have the property, we'll raise some
Oh,
pigs.
oh. Well, if you're gonna have me there, you gotta have some chickens. Yeah, some chickens. So some chickens, and I won't even eat the chickens. They all the chickens got to do are lay eggs
Yep.
until
Definitely want to have a chicken coop.
until there's too many chickens, and then we start killing them off. And but yeah, that's cool. So you said the physical therapy. You were talking about that. That shit was going well.
Yeah, I mean, well as it can be. As far as they can't give me new exercises to fix it. It's the damage is done and it's permanent, and now it's a matter of sucking up and dealing with it.
Well, you, okay. Don't look at it that way. Like look at it like you had some surgery, and you're trying to reduce the restrictive movement from the scar tissue that's forming. Like that's
Yeah, that's just done. I'm cleared for all movement, all whatever. Now it's a matter of just dealing with the pain.
and those new that new medication or whatever.
Haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting for my insurance company to bless me with their permission.
Ugh. And where's an apothecary when you need one? Just fucking hobble your ass over there and have like some old German dude put some shit in a mill. That'd be great. Well, I'll have you know, sir. I'm also hurting myself. Um, so I probably will be having a knee surgery in within the next year. I couldn't tell you how soon,
Before you
but
get out,
yeah, before I get out, that is the plan. And I essentially like I knew I was going to need one, right? I knew I was going to need one for my right knee. I had one on my left knee when I was in high school because I tore my ACL, and my right knee has given me a little bit of trouble here and there, and I just kind of like ease off of it. And but lately we have this guy that wants to do Army PT 3 days a week, and we normally don't do Army PT. We do our own PT and then we do a PT test. Right, that's pretty much all we do. So this guy's idea of PT is running very long distances 3 times a week, which okay, not all of us are 5'2" and weigh like 140 pounds. Um, I'm 5'6", 5'7", and I weigh anywhere from 185 to 195. Just depends. So I started running just because I was mad at the guy, and coupled, and I know exactly what it is. It's the fact that I don't sleep enough because of the child, because of my son, and the fact that I'm doing more. So I still try to go to the gym, and I still go out and I run, and I don't have any recovery time. So there's no recovery time as far as the actual physical activities are, and there's no recovery time as far as sleep goes. So I can feel my knee slipping towards like the inside. And so I started the first process. I got an x-ray, I haven't heard back. I just got it. Now I got to schedule an MRI next week. And I just want to make it to my next move and then deal with the surgery. Hopefully they don't try to like push the surgery because I got enough shit going on. But I will definitely be having some kind of knee surgery within the next year. Hopefully about March, April of 2022. That would be the most ideal.
You're out in next October?
I am officially out. This, you know, I would officially be out August 2023. That would be my official out. June would be June of 2022 is when I submit my paperwork to request separation, and then they get back to you within a month. So then you find out in July, pretty much, if you got orders, and then you start that race. You start that race of VA, Soldier for Life, transition assistance program, resumes, jobs, of course, all your physical appointments too. So, you know, you're get another finger stuck up your ass, get your heart checked, talk to a psychologist or something, and then of course working with your VA rep to try to get you whatever. So yeah, the process will start probably in July, and I really don't know when the surgery is going to happen. I just don't want it to happen while I'm still here. I want to wait till I get to my next station to do it. That would be the most ideal. So I will be re-engaging rehab with a knee, because if you remember, I had surgery on my elbow, which that's a different joint. That's a hanging joint. That's not a load bearing joint, so it's a little different. But that knee rehab was not fun. I remember it. I remember a lot of it was not fun, but I did it, and my left knee works just fine. So now I gotta take care of the right knee. Woo.
I'll get that shit fixed.
Get it
glad
fixed.
It's not your spine.
Oh, most definitely. And I just want to be glad that I'm out, because I want to be out while everything still fucking works. I know people that get out and they're just like, oh, I got 100%, and it's like, well, what did it cost you? Like, that's pretty high price to pay to get 100% disability. I mean, there's perks to that 100% disability. But some of those I'd just be like, nah, I'd be happy to get out. If I didn't get any disability, I'd be cool with that as long as everything worked. If everything worked, I'd be happy. You know, because you can't put a price tag on that. I had a kid super late in my life, so when my kid is sports playing age, I want to be able to still go play sports with my kid. At least, try to teach him how to play sports: basketball, football, baseball, soccer. Be physically active with your child, that kind of thing. So. But yeah, I will be soon making that trek myself. And am I scared? No, I'm not scared. I need it to happen at the right time. I need that luxury, and I think I have that luxury more so than you did. So you get to ask me about my rehab every week, and that'll be interesting too, because I'll be on the East Coast, so I'll be like all the way away from you. So normally we do the show at 7 your time, which would be, Jesus Christ, 8, 9, 10. That'd be 10 o'clock at night. We might have to change that. You might have to get on earlier, sir. Some of us got to go deal with government shit all day the next day.
Fault is that?
Huh?
Whose fault is that?
Hey. If you were young enough, dude, I'd tell you to just go do 3 years, 4 years. I would.
Fuck no.
Well,
I don't deal well with authority.
Well, we did talk about this in a way earlier podcast, and we talked about how, well, why don't you join the military? And you're like, I would if I could. You did say
No,
that.
I would have if I could have. I went to MEPS, found out I
Oh,
was colorblind and couldn't do
right,
any of the stuff that I wanted to do,
right, right. That's what it
and so
was.
I gave him the finger because I'm not going to just go into the military just to fucking jerk off.
It's a good
Just
experience. It's a good experience. It's a bad experience. It's like, how about this? You're familiar with like the zero sum theory, right? Like how everything just balances out, right? Good, bad, yin yang. So if you had never joined any service, and that's, I'm not knocking people that haven't, okay, but like this is just your life. Here's your good, here's your bad, zero sum, right? Everything equals out. You have a lot of good experiences, you have a lot of bad. Now you get like in the military, depends on the branch though. So we'll say Marines and Army. You have a lot of good, camaraderie, friends, travel, uh, good experiences, food, sexual promiscuity, whatever you know, and then you have a lot of bad, right? We won't elaborate bad, but the thing is, like,
authority, people in charge of you, people yelling at you, people making you run 3 times a week,
well, there's a lot more to it. I mean,
fucking up your knee
you have the combat,
further.
you have the bureaucracy, you have the authority, you have like the strict schedule, um, you have like so many standards. You have grooming standards, you have height and weight standards, you have physical fitness standards, you have psychological standards. There's like so many things, that you have. Like, obviously you can't be a racist. So like normally, as a civilian, you can just be like, you know what, fuck white people or fuck whatever. Like, there's a lot of standards, right? Is a club. So, but what I'm saying is, like, you have the bad shit and then you have the good shit, and so it's a zero sum game. We'll just assume that like your good will balance out your bad. You're gonna have a lot of bad experiences. You're gonna meet a lot of bad people. You're gonna have a lot of good experiences. You're gonna meet a lot of good people. You're gonna have people that,
What are the good experiences?
some of the greatest friends I've ever had. Traveling around the world, eating a lot of different food, drinking a lot of different stuff.
Bombing foreign nations, killing foreign kids.
I didn't bomb anybody.
You're part of the machine. You're complicit.
No, you pay taxes to
We're
that.
all
You pay taxes
we're
to
all
that machine.
complicit. Yeah, we're
So,
all complicit
so
with
what
that.
what I'm saying is, if you took yourself in a parallel universe, I feel like if you had joined the service, if you could have joined the service and done the job you wanted to do, you would have got out, and you would just have a lot more.
What do you got now? 10 years ago,
No, sure, you would have got out,
or
and
11 years ago? 11 years ago.
well, assuming you did 20, I'm just saying, just do 3 to 5, 3 to 5, 3 to 5 years, because like some of the most
Sounds
complicated
like a
jobs.
prison sentence when you say it like that.
Hold on. I'm saying like some of the very, very smart jobs, they want you to stay in for 5 years because it costs them a lot of money to train you, and some of the jobs that are just more labor intensive, like line units, cav, field artillery, infantry, your first contract's like 3 years. That's just how they're structured, right? And that kind of makes sense. It takes them 8 weeks to train you how to kill somebody, right?
I think the die fair program was a 4-year minimum
Right, but then like
with
to
a EOD falling under that.
right. EOD, the last I checked, was a 6-year program actually. So like as of 2017, because I remember I was teaching at the school where they did like phase one of EOD, so it was like a 6 year at the time. But the more money and time they have to put into training you, the longer they take your minimum requirement. So if you're picking a job like driving a truck, uh, you know, balancing loads, how to check a truck, whatever, it's probably like a 4 year commitment. If you're in a job where you're immediately killing people and you're immediately going to be killed, it's probably a 3 year commitment. But the upside is usually when you reenlist, like there's always a bonus. But anyway, you pick a job and you're gonna have shitty experiences. You're gonna have great experiences, and your life, your spectrum, your view on life, on government, on happiness, on sadness, on what it feels like to be wronged, what it feels like to actually work for something and earn it, what it feels like. Because, dude, like it's so extreme in the military. Like sexism, um, sexism exists. Racism exists. Um, the one thing I've never experienced extremism. Like that's a big thing they're pushing. Like there's extremism. I've never, in almost 20 years, I've never seen a swastika hanging up in somebody's room. I've never seen none of that shit. I've just seen people didn't like people for reasons. I don't like Jews, or I don't like blacks, or I don't like whites, or but you get your eyes open up to a lot of things, and most people join when they're really young, and so that's almost a lot better than sitting your kid down in front of Cartoon Network and then having like drag queen story hour just play on the television. You know, like that being 20 years old, 20 to 24 years old, basically a college age kid, and experiencing like death, experiencing unfairness, experiencing like serious consequences for your actions, like Uniform Code of Military Justice, experiencing really great friends, really great drinking times, really great traveling. During off duty, just that ability. Like, okay, guess what? We're sending you to Germany for a couple of years, and then you travel and you see shit. Oh, you're going to Korea. Oh my god, that place sucks. And then you end up seeing good parts of Korea, and of course you go to the shitty parts because you want to experience that too. You're like, oh, okay, oh yeah, there's that barber shop they told me to stay out of. So you experience all that, but in the other universe, had I not gone, I would have not experienced any of that. I
So
would have.
knowing that you went into that barber shop, what was in there?
I didn't go. I was too scared. I really was. Like I wasn't scared that. Like I was more scared that I was gonna get caught because
All
I'm
right, why did they tell you to not go into the barber shop?
because they do sexual stuff. So they cut your hair and then they blow you. Essentially, that's basically what they told us. They're like these certain barbershops, you go in and they'll give you a haircut, but then they'll offer you more money to have sex. And I was like, really? They're like, yes. And if we find you in these barbershops, then we're gonna do this and this and this and this. And ultimately, in my early years I got fucked a lot as far as, and my biggest thing was I was late. So I was late, kind of like I am now, but I was late, so I got fucked a lot on that. And so early mindset, I fucked up. I paid immediate consequences. They took my money, they took my rank, and then they took my time. So the first time I was like, was a training. I missed formation twice. So they dropped me from an E2 to E1, and then for 2 weeks I had to rake leaves, and this was like this was in fall. And this is in Alabama where there's not a lot of there's a lot of trees with leaves. There's a lot of oak trees and shit. So I started my extra duty about 3 days before Christmas leave. So for 3 days I rake leaves. I'd go to school. I'd come back from my school. I would go to chow. I would come back from chow, and I would start raking leaves at 6 p.m. And I would rake them, and I would bag them, and then I'd put them in the dumpster, and I did that till about 10 o'clock at night, and then I'd go back to my room, and I would shower, and I would go to bed, and then I'd wake up at 5 in the morning to do PT, and I would do it all over again. So I had no free time. So I took the 3 days. I went on Christmas leave for I think a week or 2 weeks. I forgot what Christmas leave was, and then I came back, and then after the New Year, whatever it was, I was back to doing extra duty, and it fucking sucked. So that was the first time. So they drop you pay grade, which means you make less money, and then they also fine you. So they think they fined me like $600. So my next check, I had a $600 fine. So that's $600 I didn't make. They dropped me down to pay grade, and that means that I made $200 less a month until I went back to that night. So I was, ouch, that fucking hurt. When I came back from Iraq, I was a specialist. I was an E4. I missed formation a couple times, and they did the exact same thing to me. So this was within 2 years. I went from E2 to E1, then I went all the way back up to specialist, and then I got demoted down to E3. And what was I doing? I was mopping conference floors. I was stripping floors of wax. I was waxing floors. I was emptying trash. I was picking up pine cones. Dude, like, it's miserable. And a lot of people
You're
don't.
making the military sound like a wonderful thing to join.
No, what I'm telling you is, what I realized is there are consequences for my actions. And a lot of kids these days don't realize that. Like, what are consequences to them? There's always mommy, there's always daddy, there's always the government, there's always someone that's going to catch them, or there's people that just won't hold them accountable. And so they act how they act, they say what they say, they do what they do without repercussions. And then when they get somewhere where something happens to them, they're like, "Oh my god," and they start crying and they're a bitch about it. Like, was I mad? I was fucking furious that I was in trouble, especially when there was someone else the second time. There was another guy that was missing formation. We both had the same. It's called Article 15, which is non-judicial punishment. So you have judicial, which is a court martial, and non-judicial, which is basically where you go up to your commander, and your commander is like judge, jury, executioner. They look at the charges. They interview you. You can bring in witnesses. You can bring in character witnesses, and they decide if you're guilty or not guilty, and then they issue a punishment. Right now, you can appeal that punishment, but that appeal essentially results in a court martial, which is judicial punishment. And a judicial punishment, if you're convicted, regardless of the charge of a court martial, it's a felony. So they're going to kick you out, and you're going to be a felon. So it's kind of like you're in this judicial system that's fucked because maybe the commander doesn't like you, or maybe the person that wrote you up doesn't like you, and the commander.
Sounds like a wonderful organization to join.
Oh, it does. Now,
all that and the opportunity to go out and bomb people in other countries.
Well, as I said, it has broadened my horizon to a lot of things. I see things differently, a lot differently than I would have if I would have stayed in that town of 6,000 people, 8,000 people. I actually see things a lot more liberally than I do conservatively. Like, if I would have stayed in that town, I'd be like this. Just like liberals are like this. But if the military did anything to me, as far as political views, I saw things like, or not political, ideological. I see things more liberally. I see things from other people's perspective. I sympathize with people as much as I can, but most importantly, I like accountability over that. Like, just be accountable for what you do or what you don't do. That's something we don't have enough of in the regular society. But that's me. I'm not selling anybody the army or the navy or whatever. What I am saying is, I think everybody could benefit from an experience where they get shit on, because I don't think people get shit on nearly enough from the time that they're 12, from the time that you think your child kind of has like a spine a little bit, can deal with a little bit of bullying or a little bit of ribbing, to the time that they're 24 and they're supposed to be fully physically and mentally developed. I don't feel like people get shit on enough. There's a threshold. You can't shit on people too much, but I don't feel like people get shit on enough. And I feel like joining the military is probably the right amount of getting shit on. It really is. But yeah. So, remarks complete, sir.
Yep. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
And thinking about it, I have no regrets that it worked out the way it did. I mean, everything that happened in my life put me where I'm at today, and I wouldn't want to change that for anything.
Oh, that means you want me in your life. I don't think you'd be in my life. I don't think I'd
or maybe change a couple things.
Hey, dude, I have a question. All right, you're a cat guru, somewhat. Okay.
I have an answer, but it is about that time.
It is. I'll make it quick. I moved the litter boxes from this room into the garage because we're showing the house, and I don't want the litter boxes sitting in there. And I've shown the cats where the litter boxes are, but is it that one?
It's not their spot.
Yeah, the one cat keeps shitting in that fucking closet, dude.
Litter box back.
Move the litter box back into the closet?
Yep.
But what about when people come over and they want to look in the closet?
I'm sure they understand that, you've got cats around.
Mm-hmm.
It's better that when they look in the closet, they see a litter box and they see a pile of cat shit.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep the litter box clean.
I always keep them clean. I clean them twice a week.
No, clean them every day.
Jesus Christ, dude. I don't have that much time. There's not, but there's nothing else.
Well,
There's,
do you have time to keep cleaning the carpet when the cat shits there?
okay, no, I don't. But what you're telling me is move the litter box back upstairs and clean that litter box every day. Because
Yeah.
I wasn't cleaning it every day when it was in the closet. I was cleaning it twice a week.
Well, yes, but your concern is that people may come and look at the house. So when they open the closet, it's not a,
Oh,
you know, stinky ass 3 day old litter box.
yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so no spray, no cat be gone.
No,
No.
if
Okay.
you use the cat be gone inside, they'll just piss. Because the cat be gone, I think, just simulates another cat's piss,
Mm.
like to mark their territory and stuff like that. So if you spray that inside, your cats are gonna freak the fuck out and start getting territorial and start spraying. And then how will that look when you've got, the real estate agent over with a prospective buyers and they see your cat stare at them, look them in the eye, and then piss on the carpet.
Oh yeah.
And on that note,
Yeah. Yeah. Good advice there. Yeah, I'll probably bring one up here.
get
Uh.
like get like a litter genie, and you can just scoop it every day. Keep the litter genie by there, scoop it every day, keeps the smell down.
Mm, yeah. So,
Or
sir,
I don't know if you have a diaper genie, use that.
we do have a diaper genie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
litter genie is essentially the same thing, just designed for cat litter.
Gotcha. Oh, well. Yeah, it's about that time, dude. Really good conversation. I like that. Very minimal politics. That was pretty good. I can go right to sleep after this. Give us the final word, my good sir.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Our founders didn't believe in standing armies, so let's see here. A standing is James Madison. A standing army is one of the greatest mischiefs that can possibly happen. Alexander Hamilton. Standing armies are dangerous to liberty. So yeah, that and taxation is theft.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Hey, I do want to say I want to bring on uh I want to bring on this feminist. I want to bring a feminist on the show. I don't know if I can
Well,
get her
we
on.
can talk about that another time because
Uh,
my food is getting cold.
oh, fuck your food. But uh but yeah, I do I've just given you a warning shot. I would like to bring this feminist on. If I can get her to come on, that'd be great. Uh I think that would be a good talk. But thank you everybody for tuning in. Go ahead and if
Can
you
I be
haven't,
extra vulgar?
she's vulgar as hell, dude. She'd probably fucking make you blush a little bit. Probably would. But yeah, yeah. I'll see if I can get her on. I'll see if I can get her on. Thank you everybody for tuning into the show. If you could leave a comment, like, dislike, subscribe, share the video, and just keep your ear to the ground for more content.
Delete your social media. Don't listen to them.
Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Well, I mean, they're on YouTube, so just share the video via email, share the video via text message, something. But the 22 of you that are still rocking with us, we appreciate you. And that being said, we'll see you guys next week. I'm Jake.
I'm Drake.
This is Jake Drake Show. Y'all take care.